Just as Pharaoh was to Musa, he was the Pharaoh to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A symbol of arrogance and cruelty, this man vowed to destroy Islam and its prophet. Wielding immense power, family influence and wealth, he was one of the most prominent figures in Mecca. Yet history would remember him by another name, the father of ignorance. His story isn't just about one man, it's the timeless battle between truth and falsehood. Why did Abu Jahal fight with such ferocity? Was he truly unaware of the truth? From his stunning defeat at Badr to the defiant pride he held until his final breath, the painful end of the Pharaoh of this Ummah will surprise you. We now present the untold story of Abu Jahal, filled with details that many have never heard. Subscribe to our channel now so you don't miss more fascinating Islamic histories like this one. Abu Jahal, whose real name was Amr ibn Hisham al-Mughira, belonged to the Banu Makhzum, one of the most influential clans of the Quraysh tribe in Mecca. The Banu Makhzum was among the most powerful and respected branches of the Quraysh, entrusted with matters of war and defense for the city. Consequently, Amr ibn Hisham was groomed for leadership from a young age. His exact birth date is unknown, but it's estimated he was a few years older than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His family was among the wealthiest and most powerful in Mecca. His father, Hisham ibn al-Mughira, was a respected leader and a wealthy merchant who managed trade caravans that traversed the Arabian Peninsula, accumulating vast wealth. Abu Jahal grew up in luxury and comfort. He received the best education available, learning to read and write and becoming a skilled orator and poet. From a young age, he stood out for his intelligence and charismatic personality. His influence allowed him to play an active role in Mecca's social and political life, often acting as a mediator in tribal disputes. For him, the honor of his family and the reputation of his tribe were paramount. Deeply attached to the traditions and beliefs of his ancestors, he was a staunch defender of idol worship. He believed that Mecca's established religious and social order had to be preserved at all costs. The idols in the Kaaba were not just religious symbols, they were the bedrock of Mecca's economic power, attracting pilgrims from all over Arabia and boosting the city's trade. For this reason, Abu Jahal considered any challenge to the existing order to be an existential threat. In the year 16, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam began his call to Islam after receiving the first revelation in the cave of Hira. The core tenets of this new faith, the belief in one God, the rejection of idols, and the principles of social justice, deeply disturbed Mecca's elite. Abu Jahal emerged as one of the harshest opponents of this new religion. He saw the spread of Islam as a direct threat to his authority, his family's honor, and the entire social and economic balance of Mecca. At first, he dismissed the Prophet's message, but as Islam began to spread rapidly, especially among the youth, slaves and women, his concern turned to rage. He became the mastermind behind the persecution of the early Muslims, devising plans to isolate them socially, cripple them economically, and torture them physically. Sumayyah bint Khabbab and her husband Yasir ibn Amir, considered the first martyrs of Islam, were among the earliest victims of Abu Jahal's brutality. This family, having embraced Islam together, was subjected to horrific torture to force them to renounce their faith. Abu Jahal personally tortured Sumayyah, but when she remained steadfast, he flew into a rage and martyred her with his spear. Her husband Yasir was also tortured to death. Their perseverance became a legendary example for all Muslims. Bilal ibn Rabah, an Abyssinian slave, also suffered immensely. His acceptance of Islam enraged his master, and Abu Jahal On Abu Jahal's orders, Bilal was dragged out onto the scorching desert sand under the midday sun with a heavy boulder placed on his chest to make him renounce his faith. Yet through it all, he repeatedly cried out, Ahadun Ahad, He is one, declaring the absolute oneness of Allah. His legendary resistance inspired the believers until he was eventually purchased and freed by Abu Bakr. Abu Jahal's enmity wasn't limited to the followers. He directly targeted the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. On one occasion, while the Prophet was praying near the Kaaba, Abu Jahal and his cohorts dumped the filthy entrails of a camel upon his back. The Prophet's young daughter Fatima could not hold back her tears as she cleaned the filth from her father. Through it all, the Prophet remained patient, continuing his prayer and seeking help only from Allah. Abu Jahal constantly insulted the Prophet, calling him a magician, a poet, and a madman to devalue his message. However, the Prophet's impeachable honesty and noble character were well known throughout Makkah. Consequently, many of Abu Jahal's schemes backfired, ironically drawing more people to Islam. Then he orchestrated a brutal 3-year-long boycott against the Muslims and the Prophet's clan. During this period, they were exiled to a narrow valley known as Shib Abi Talib. All trade and social ties were severed. The Muslims faced starvation and extreme hardship. The cries of hungry children echoed from the valley. Some were forced to eat leaves to survive. Yet they did not abandon their faith, and the boycott eventually collapsed when some of the Quraysh themselves felt shame and tore up the agreement. What drove this man? Was it pure ignorance? Not entirely. It is narrated that one night, hiding near the Kaaba, he secretly listened to the Prophet reciting the Quran and was profoundly moved. He recognized its truth. He later confessed to a contemporary that the real issue was tribal rivalry, saying, "We and the sons of Abd Manaf, the Prophet's clan, have competed in everything. They fed the poor and we fed the poor." Then they say, "From us comes a prophet who receives revelation from the heavens. How can we ever compete with that? By God, we will never believe in him." His pride would not allow him to submit. Even after the Muslims migrated to Medina, Abu Jahal's hostility did not cease. He saw the new Muslim community as a direct threat to Makkah's vital trade caravans. When a Meccan caravan was threatened, Abu Jahal seized the opportunity, rallied the Meccan army, and pushed them to go to war. The Battle of Badr in 624 CE was a pivotal turning point. Abu Jahal commanded the Meccan army, confident of an easy victory against the much smaller Muslim force. But he was shocked by the Muslims' unwavering faith and brilliant strategy. During the fighting, two young Ansari brothers who had heard of his tyranny sought him out on the battlefield and struck him down, leaving him gravely wounded. After the battle, the companion Abdullah ibn Masud found him on the ground. Ibn Masud stood over him and asked, "Has Allah not disgraced you, O enemy of Allah?" Ever arrogant, Abu Jahal replied, "What is so disgraceful about a great man being killed by his own people?" His words revealed a pride that burned fiercely until his final breath. With his death, a great victory was sealed. The death of Abu Jahal was a devastating blow to the Quraysh, crippling their morale and their ability to fight against Islam. For the Muslims, it was a divine sign and a massive source of motivation, proving that with Allah's help, a small group firm in its faith could overcome a much greater force. Remarkably, Islam transformed members of his own family. His son Ikrimah initially followed in his father's footsteps but converted after the conquest of Mecca. Unlike his father, Ikrimah became a sincere and valiant Muslim, martyred while fighting for the faith his father tried to destroy. This transformation showed how Islam could conquer even the most hardened of hearts. In Islamic history, Abu Jahal is the ultimate symbol of denial and arrogance. While his given name was Amr ibn Hisham and his nickname was Abul Hakam, father of wisdom, the Prophet himself renamed him Abu Jahal, father of ignorance, to perfectly encapsulate his character. This title doesn't imply a lack of intelligence, but a willful, arrogant refusal to accept the truth. The life of Abu Jahal serves as a powerful cautionary tale of how pride leads to ruin. Arrogance blinds a person to the truth and pushes them down a path of destruction. He knew the truth in his heart, but his pride sealed his fate. In contrast, the Muslims remained steadfast, and their patience ultimately brought them victory. Their story teaches us that oppression is always destined to fail. Abu Jahal's story is not just a relic of the past. It is a timeless lesson about the struggle between humility and hubris, faith and denial. Understanding this pivotal figure helps us grasp the immense challenges the first Muslims faced and reminds us to guard against the arrogance that resides in every human heart. If you found this story insightful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating Islamic histories like this one. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'll see you in the next video. May Allah protect you.